In this video, we're going to see which AI model is the best for marketing. We're going to start from scratch. From idea generation to picking an idea, to picking what problem we are solving, how much we should charge for that problem, to building our offer, how are we going to position our services to the clients, to finalizing the logo and other marketing assets. And number 5 is to see what our competitors in our niche are doing. That said, let's get into the video. The first prompt, idea generation. Tell me the most profitable businesses I can start within the next 5 days. That will get me to $10,000 a month. I want high demand, low startup cost, and something that actually works in 2025. Give me 3 specific ideas with reasoning. Let's see what Chatgpt does in idea generation. As you know, it's the most popular AI all around the world, and it took 6 seconds to give us an answer. It gives us a basic action plan, and ChatGPT essentially suggested us to either become a freelancer or to start an agency service business. This was the first option. And the second option was to create a digital product or a course. And the third option was to create an e-commerce business or drop shipping. Drop shipping is the most oversaturated business to start in 2025. For an idea, these are very surface level and it's on the lower quality side. For that, I'm going to give ChatGPT a 7 out of 10. 7 because it did give us a structure on what works, why it works now, and how to achieve our goal of getting to $10,000 per month. And it also threw in a little bit of a 5-day action plan as well. That said, due to the nature of the response and the response being very basic, 7. Let's move on to Claude. Alright, we are in Claude and let's press enter. And wow, we got the output almost instantaneously. No hesitation, straight in. First off is AI automation agency for local businesses. Right off the bat, it's descriptive and I like that. And the structure is very good as well. For each idea that it has suggested, it's given us why it works, the startup cost, path to $10,000 and what you should do in the first 5 days. Guys, what more do you need? And if you observed, it's not generic. I might even go to the point of saying that it was creative because it suggested becoming a ghostwriter for premium content on LinkedIn. And if you observe the response it gave, it has hidden concepts like credibility building and how you should make an offer to the first few clients. So I would give Claude a solid 8.5 out of 10. Let's move on to the hottest AI of 2025, Perplexity. So this has 3 modes in which you can carry out the query. The first is quick search. This gives instantaneous response. The second is a deep research. And the third is Perplexity Labs. And also here, Perplexity acts as a conglomeration for all the AI models. So we're going to just leave it in its default setting, see what it picks. And sources, I'm going to do the same. And let's press enter. Right off the bat, I can see that Perplexity has a lot of similarity to ChatGPT. It's generic and wow, it does not even have a structure and the advice is very surface level. And for that reason, I give this a solid 5 out of 10. Solidly average. Let's move on to the next round. Alright, Claude was the winner of round 1. But will it still win in round 2? Market research. And before we go into round 2, I've picked the niche of AI agency because most of you watching this at some point has seen all the N8N videos, the make.com videos, and has seen how easy it is to build stuff, to build automations without requiring coding knowledge or programming knowledge. So for that reason, let's see AI agency. The prompt is, I'm starting an AI automation agency targeting real estate agents. Is this market saturated? What automation problems do real estate agents actually need solved right now? And most importantly, what should I charge? First up is ChatGPT. Right off the bat, it instantly switched to thinking mode. And that, to me, is a good sign. It means it's thinking longer to give you a better response. It took 21 seconds to give us an answer. And as I've observed, this answer from ChatGPT has a lot of unfamiliar terms. So what ChatGPT has done is, it's gone out and done a web search. It's taken whatever it can from the web search and it's basically just spit it out here without much processing and without breaking it down for us. Considering all the factors, I give this a 6 out of 10. Alright, pasting the prompt into Claude and pressing enter. Let's see how Claude does. Claude has gone on a web search as well, and there we go. Gives a response. Is the market saturated? Not quite, but it's getting competitive. Claude's response has no unfamiliar terms. And it also found that 70% of real estate agents didn't close a single transaction in 2024. So the structure of this answer is perfect once again. It answers if the market is saturated, the problems we can solve, and most importantly, it addresses the pricing. The thing about pricing is you can price your automation service solely based on how much of a headache that problem is to a certain organization. So if it's a larger organization, their hourly rate, how much they earn in an hour, will be significantly more than a smaller organization. So if they waste 10 hours per week, for the smaller organization, it might cost them $1,000. Whereas for the larger organization, it would cost them around $10,000. Do you see the scale? So pricing is not fixed. I just asked the question of pricing to see what type of ballpark figure it gives. And so far, I'm happy. And it also suggested a setup fee and retainer. So for that, 8 out of 10. Tough to beat. Let's see what Perplexity does. We are going to be doing this in two ways. One is I'm going to use the quick response, and the second, I'm going to use deep research and see what's the difference, because it does not have an auto suggestion button where I can just ask it to essentially choose the best mode for my query. So let's compare both. And let's try the quick response first. I'm going to press enter and let's see what happens. Alright, quick response was quick indeed. And what do I like about this? The pricing is in a pretty good ballpark figure, and the structure is good. It's simple. It gave what I wanted. For a quick answer that suggested almost instantaneously about what's to be done, I think this is a good answer. So for that, I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10, which makes it hold a tie with Claude. Let's see how the deep research does. Alright, same prompt, deep research. Let's see what happens. This took about 2.5 minutes to give me an answer. And as you can see, I would say the quality of the response in the quick mode and in the deep research mode is the same. But this is a little bit more detailed. This has a little bit more information. And for the time, it's proportionally better. So I'm just gonna give this an 8. So quick response and deep research for this query scores the same. Round number 2. This was a tie between Claude and Perplexity. But will it be the same case in round number 3? Sales copy. A certain service or a certain product. How are you going to position this to the customer to make it appealing for them? And this is make it or break it. You might have a good product in your hand, but if you don't know how to market that product, you're out of the game. And as you can see, people are developing apps left, right, and center. It's so easy to develop an app these days thanks to Claude Code, Cursor AI, but people lose because they don't know how to market it. They don't know how to take a certain app, a certain product, or certain something that they built to the right audience. They know to code, they create something, but they don't know how to get the audience for it. If you want a free strategic consultation on how to take whatever you create and put it across to the right audience and actually make them loyal customers forever, click the link in the description below. That said, here's the prompt. Write me a compelling service package description for my AI automation agency. Here's the package. Automated lead follow-up, social media scheduling, and email nurture sequences for real estate agents. The price is $997 per month. Make them want to buy. First up, as usual, we have Chatgpt. Let's press enter and see what magic it gives us. Alright, the response was very quick. And for a copy that essentially decides if a customer is being converted or not, this, even though it was quick, it's extremely generic and non-convincing. And it's dead average. The whole point of using AI to write is for your work to get faster, and it should not feel weird. It should not feel like AI was involved in this writing, because the whole point of us writing a sales copy is to create that connection and build the connection with the readers. So for that, this copy was average, and I'm going to give it a solid average mark, 5 out of 10. That said, let's move on to the king of creative writing, Claude. Alright, it's Claude's turn, and this is where it excels. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. As you can see, this also gave somewhat of an instantaneous response, and instantly you can observe something. The writing has personality. it may not be the personality that you want. It might not be the personality that's suitable to your brand. But for the first draft, it definitely does have a personality. It means it's not generic. And it's also used marketing strategy strategically. It's used proof in the form of reviews. It's used specific numbers for the results benefit. And the third, the CTA is really well done and it focuses on exclusivity as well. And for the first draft, I'm happy with this. So for that reason, I give this an 8.5 out of 10. Alright, we are in Perplexity. Let's see how this does. Perplexity's response was also very quick. Automated lead follow-up, social media scheduling, email nurture sequences, why agents choose this package. Somehow, this is even worse than ChatGPT. Yep. So for this, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. So far, it's not looking good for ChatGPT and Perplexity. And Claude, from nowhere, the unknown hero, is winning. But before you get excited about Claude, there's one major flaw that you should know about. And this flaw might essentially make you run away from Claude. That's it. Let's move on to prompt number 4. And it's no surprise. Claude is the best at writing, and it just proved how good it is. And so far, in these 3 rounds, Claude is really dominating. But I'm not sure it can do the same for the next round. Because the next round is image generation. And for this, we're going to let AI design a logo. Here's the prompt. Create a modern professional logo for Flow Agent, an AI automation agency for real estate professionals. Style: sleek, trustworthy, tech forward. And first up, it's ChatGPT's turn. And guys, before we get into this round, I have to mention something. In these 3 AI models that we're comparing today, only one has a native image generating model, and that is ChatGPT. Let's put that to the test. Okay, as you can see, we have got an image. Okay, let me be honest. This is not a good response at all. And I don't want this to be my logo if I was starting an AI agency for real estate clients. But I have used ChatGPT in the past for image generation and I've got responses like this. Considering that and considering the prompt is not that descriptive, this is the sort of image you'll get because AI is essentially garbage in, garbage out. And for image, you really need to be a little bit more descriptive than your normal queries because if you want that visual to be appealing and if you want to achieve the visual that you want, it's simple. Be more descriptive and tell what you want. And in that, ChatGPT does somewhat of a good job. Although it has a lot of guardrails and it won't create exact human subjects or exact references, it still does a good job for image generation. That said, I'm going to give ChatGPT a solid 8 out of 10. Alright, next up we have Claude. And for Claude, I have to mention that Claude does not have a native image generation model. In fact, it does not create images itself. You'll see what I mean in a second. But for research purposes, let's see what it does. Alright, I've pasted the prompt and let's press enter. When you asked for an image and when you see the AI model coding, you know something is wrong. And this is a foreshadow of what's about to happen. God, this feels like bullying.
2,000 years later.
Let's open it up and see what it gives us. Alright, am I allowed to give a 0 on this channel? Am I allowed to give a 0? Okay, let's give 1 for effort. That's it. Let's move on to Perplexity. Let's enter the prompt and see what happens. Ooh, and this looks so cool. I would happily wait for my image while I stare at this weird, abstract animation going on in front of me. Can I give a bonus point for this? I am going to include a bonus point for this. Here it is. I'll be honest. First impressions, I do like it. But do I like it as a logo? Absolutely not. Because a logo is supposed to be simple. And this is something far away from simple. But I definitely do like the creativity and I do like how it looks. So for that, am I going to give the point to ChatGPT or Perplexity? Even though this is not ideal for a logo, and as you can see, there are a little bit of AI slop as usual, but I'm going to give it the same rating as ChatGPT, 8 out of 10. And for this round, it's a tie between ChatGPT and Perplexity. Will they have a comeback by the end of this video? Let's see. As you can see, the reigning champion just lost the crown, and Perplexity and ChatGPT took the win. Although I rated the same for ChatGPT and Perplexity and I told it's a tie, I have gotten better results using ChatGPT. So for image generation, use 2 models. Yes, one is an honorable mention. Number 1, Nano Banana from Google Gemini. At the time of editing this video, Google just dropped Gemini 3. And along with Gemini 3, it also dropped Nano Banana Pro. And by far, this is the best image generation model If you want, try it out and have a look for yourself. ChatGPT is somewhat consistent, but it has a lot of guardrails. And if you want a separate video on how to create stunning visuals like this or this, subscribe below and I'll show you how to get the best out of Nano Banana and ChatGPT. That said, round number 5. This is the second most important round after a sales copy because anyone can start a business, but we should be ever evolving. Why? Because there are other players in the market. If you were the only business in your niche, you wouldn't need to do any work. You just create your product, people will automatically buy. But that's not how it works. It's a dog eat dog world and it's extremely competitive. And you should know what your competitors are doing. Who are my top 3 competitors in the AI automation space for real estate? What are they charging? What do their customers complain about? And where's my opportunity to differentiate? Let's go. I'm excited for this round. Let's paste in the prompt and press enter. Alright, ChatGPT took 1 minute 30 seconds approximately to give us an answer. And for a deep research, that's not bad at all. It gives us the information in the format we asked for, and it gives us a section where it says what customers are complaining about, essentially the themes that we can exploit and get ahead. So for competitive research, what would I rate this? I would rate this a 8.5 out of 10. Of course, I haven't checked the veracity of the information. I'm just going off based on the time it takes and the quality of output I got. Like for example, the companies it mentioned, I don't know if it still exists or not. So based on the quality of the response, yeah, ChatGPT, 8 out of 10. Next up, we have Claude. And here's the thing, Claude does a very weird thing when it comes to research. I don't know why, but it goes about taking 300 to 400 resources and it takes around 15 to 20 minutes to perform research. Yes, you heard me right. ChatGPT, as you just saw, took around 1.5 minutes. Perplexity takes about 3 to 5 minutes, but Claude goes ham and takes about 15 to 20 minutes, but it refers 300 to 400 sources. Right now it's asking for a little bit of a clarification to go in for the research, and we're going to give it the clarification and let's press enter.
One eternity later.
We have got the response, and as you can see, it has taken 16 minutes 54 seconds. And like I said, 373 sources though, so is it worth the wait? Right off the bat, the context window is large, as in the amount of information it gave us is large. So is it worth the wait for 16 minutes for it to go away, take in more sources and to give us more information? Is it worth the 5x wait? Here's the thing, I use Claude Research, but I use Claude Research where it actually matters. And for competitive research, no. For creative writing and something pertaining to me writing a copy, I do a research to see what's working, what's not. And you can use this to write Instagram posts and to see what's going viral. That way, use Claude Research. But for competitive research, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10, just because of the time. Alright, last but definitely not the least, the research king, aka Perplexity. Let's enter the prompt and see what happens. This is the best when it comes to research. Why? It pulls in real-time data. Perplexity is a different type of AI. It's not like your Claude or your ChatGPT, and it runs based on citations. Meaning, for every reply it gives you, even a sentence, it will tell you where it took it from. But Claude and ChatGPT sometimes answer based on the data that they're trained on, while as this Perplexity brings in the data real time and then crafts an answer for you. So for research related stuff, and especially competitive research, I highly recommend Perplexity. You don't need any other AI for this. So for that, Perplexity, solid 9.5 out of 10. Alright, decision time. Let me make this simple. I'm gonna give you 3 scenarios. Pick one that matches your situation. Scenario 1. You're a content creator, strategist or consultant. You're writing sales pages, developing business ideas, creating frameworks, doing client research. You need one tool that handles everything from brainstorming to final copy. Get Claude Pro. $20 a month, and in my testing, it scored 8.5 on idea generation, 8.5 on copywriting, and 9 on deep research. That's 3 wins out of 5 total rounds. And it's not even close. Claude actually does better. When I asked for the business idea, ChatGPT gave me a generic blog post advice from 2015. Claude gave me a complete execution framework with startup cost, a path to $10,000 monthly, and a 5-day execution plan as well, and a plan that I could actually follow. When I asked for sales copy, ChatGPT was okayish and was forgettable. Claude has persuasion architecture. It understood proof, exclusivity, psychological triggers, the kind of copy that actually converts. And in my opinion, this should be a primary tool. But it should not be your only tool. Because the biggest problem with Claude is its usage limits. You will hit the limits very frequently if you're using this for longer periods of time. So, usage limits should not hinder our workflow. For that reason, Claude should be a primary AI, but we should couple Claude with another AI. Scenario 2. You're a researcher, analyst, or someone who needs visuals. You're pulling market data, finding competitor intel, creating image concepts for campaigns. You need speed and you need sources. If that's the case, get Perplexity Pro. $20 a month. In my testing, it scored 9 out of 10 on visual content. It tied with Claude on market research at 8 out of 10. And here's a surprise. Perplexity has multi-model access, which means you can switch between different AI engines depending on what you need. For quick search with citations, it's excellent. But here's what Perplexity won't do: deep synthesis, complex strategy, and persuasive copywriting. It's a research tool and it's competing with Google's search engine. So this should not be a primary thinking partner. That said, let's move on to scenario 3. Imagine this. You're already locked into ChatGPT's ecosystem. You built workflows around DALI and you need Sora for videos. You're comfortable with the interface. That's fine. Keep ChatGPT Plus at $20 a month. And if you have access to ChatGPT Go, opt in for that. But let me be brutally honest based on my testing. ChatGPT's quality has reduced compared to all other AIs. Because ChatGPT scored 4.5 out of 10 in idea generation, 5 out of 10 in copywriting. And these are not good points. If you're paying $20 a month for creativity, you're paying for hype, not performance. The only thing ChatGPT won in my testing was when it had to create visual content because it has native image generation model. If you have high usage limits and if you want in your pocket AI, meaning if you have even the smallest of doubts, something that you can instantly ask AI, and if you want to chat using AI's voice mode, blindly take ChatGPT because the voice mode is not even compared to any other AI. And before I wrap up this video, students and educators, listen up. You can get Perplexity Education Pro for free today. All you need to have is your email associated with your college. That's all you need. Claude also has free offerings to certain schools. And if you're in India, you are in luck because you get Gemini, you get ChatGPT, and Perplexity for free, almost for free. So check that out as well because that's insane value. But here's the thing I need you to understand. Your workflow might be different from mine. Your prompts might be different from mine. Your use case might be different from mine. And your standards might also be different from mine. So I'm not asking you to trust me, but I'm asking you to test this yourself. Here's what I want you to do. Click the link in the description. I have given a link to all the AIs. Of course, I don't get a kickback from this. Sam Altman, please introduce an influencer program. That said, use them and score them yourself. And be brutally honest to yourself. Would you actually use this output? Is it generic or is it specific? Does it save you time or create more work for you? Then compare your scores to mine. If you get the same results, you know which tool to buy. If you get different results, you learn something valuable about how these tools work for a specific use case. Either way, you win because you made a decision based on data, not on marketing hype. And look, if you do this testing and find that ChatGPT actually performs better for you, great. Leave a comment below. Tell me where my testing went wrong and show me your scores as well. And the goal here isn't to be right. The goal is to figure out what's the best choice for you. That said, if you want to make another best choice that will actually help you in marketing, click the subscribe button below and I'll bring in more content like this. As it mentions on my channel banner, I'm mentioning it again. I don't post anything until it's genuinely valuable for you. That said, take care. I'll catch you in the next one.